Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father, through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Have you ever bought new stuff to organize and hold your old stuff in order to make more room for more new stuff? Do you sometimes find that and bring home some good boxes from the store or from work, or save some of the boxes from stuff you just got from Amazon, because you know that someday you're probably going to need those boxes to store some of your old stuff in? Container stores and storage businesses thrive on that kind of thinking. And our gospel lesson for today warns us, take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Have you ever been so envious or wishful for another's life that you were unable to celebrate his or her successes, abilities, and good fortune? You look at them and say to yourself, well, what about me? That's not fair. Why isn't that me? Take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed, our reading says. Has the grammar of your life ever been predominantly in the first person singular? I want, I need, I did, I hope, I achieved, I accomplished, I will, I. Take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Have you ever bought something to make yourself feel better? Maybe because you were sad, or lonely, or angry, or scared. You wanted a new life or a new feeling more than you wanted that new thing. But you bought it anyway. Take care. Be on guard against all kinds of greed. If any of this sounds familiar, or if you answered yes, or even if you didn't, but you understand what I'm talking about, then you just might know something about greed in your own life. I say that not as a judgment or a criticism, but as a recognition that I, and maybe you too, can be as much a barn builder as the guy in the parable Jesus talked about in today's gospel reading. Pastors tend to have a thing about books. They collect them, and they never get rid of them. And that's why most pastors' offices are built with a whole wall of bookshelves from floor to ceiling. No doubt the pastor's home also has many bookcases filled and filled with more and more books. I discovered a while back that this was a real problem. So I got rid of close to 80% of my library. If I couldn't remember using the book during the past year, or the past couple of years, out it went. I offered the books to other pastors, who most gladly took them. Now each time I move, I go through a similar culling process. considering the numbers of times I've moved over the last 20 years, I've actually gotten quite good at it. And still, it's very difficult for me to pass up a good book. And I'll be honest that I still have quite a few books that I haven't opened in 40 years, but I just can't bear myself to part with. Take care. Be on guard against all kinds of greed, the gospel says. As Jesus warns, there are many kinds of greed. It might be books, or shoes, or any other tangible thing. It might be amassing money, land, or other wealth. But greed can also be about time, attention, approval, love, knowledge, power, control, being right, being in charge, 1,000 other things. They're all forms of greed. Ultimately, though, greed is not about any of these things. They may just be the symptoms or the pointers to an even deeper issue. The issue isn't about quantity, but about the condition of the heart. Greed is really just a way of dealing with our own feelings of deficit and emptiness. It's not so much about having enough, but about being enough. When we believe ourselves to be deficient, when we lose belief in ourselves, when we feel that we're not enough, then we get greedy. We use things and other people to fill the hole inside of us. Greed deceives and convinces us that if we just have more blank, then we'll be blank. Fill in the blanks with whatever it might be for you. For example, if I have more money, then I will have a more secure future. The real issue, however, might be fear, uncertainty, or the unpredictability of life. If I get more books, then I'll have more knowledge and answers. People will see me as studious and intelligent. If I can get more of your time and attention, then I'll feel accepted and important and relevant. If I can gain more power and control, then I'll be safe and respected. No one can hurt me. Greed uses external things to deal with internal matters. And it rarely works. It leaves us wanting even more, always needing the next dollar, the next book, the next word of approval. The thing is that greed steals and deprives us of what we most want. Greed robs us of our lives. That doesn't mean that possessions are inherently bad or wrong. The antidote to greed is not necessarily cleaning out the closet or the bookshelf or giving away my belongings, though in some cases that might be necessary as a beginning point. The real work of interior work, the real work is internal work. Greed shows me to be living in a poverty toward God. The antidote to greed, then, is to be rich toward God. That means investing in ourselves, with each other, and with the world, in the same ways in which Jesus invested in himself, through love, mercy, compassion, justice, hope, courage, acceptance, truth, beauty, generosity. This is the wealth of God. This is the life that God shares and invests in us through Jesus Christ. So to be rich with God means knowing that we already are God's beloved treasure. And there's freedom in that. It's the freedom to live rich toward others in the world. It reveals that there is enough. It declares my life to be as important and valuable as yours. It eliminates the need for comparison with and judgments of myself and others. Being takes precedence over having. I can't help but wonder if greed might not be at the core of our political vitriol. The violence in today's world and the dysfunction and hurt in our relationships. To the degree greed is present, it robs us of God's wealth. The boxes, shelves, and closets of our lives are already full. We have no need, no desire, no room for God. It isolates us from ourselves and others and God. Greed works its deception and turns us back on ourselves. And the grammar of our life soon becomes first person singular. I know what I will do. I will pull down my barns. I will build larger barns. I will store my stuff in my barns. I will relax. I will eat. I will drink. I will be merry. And when that happens, greed has robbed me of you and the possibility of us. There's no second or third person. There's only me. A fool, Jesus says in the parable. A fool who closes the barn door after the thief has escaped with my life. Life does not consist in the abundance of possessions, Jesus says. Somewhere deep inside, we already know this. We really do. This is not new for us. And here's why I say that. Think about the day that you held your child or your grandchild for the first time. Think about the times you pulled him or her close and whispered your dreams into their tiny ears. Recall the last child you saw baptized. Recall the last time a friend introduced you to his or her newborn child. Recall the faces on school children or kids in the playground. Do you remember that day? Can you picture their faces? What were your greatest hopes and dreams and prayers for that child? What were your sincerest prayers for his or her life? What did you desire more than anything else for that little one? Was it a big fancy house? A shelf full of books? A closet full of shoes and purses? Did you pray that they would always be on the winning team? That they would be rich and wealthy? Did you hope they would be number one in their class? Or that they would be more powerful and important and successful than everyone else? No, that's probably not what you prayed for in that moment. Why weren't those your first concerns? Because something inside of you already knew that life does not consist of the abundance of possessions. And if you knew that to be true for them, you know it to be true for yourselves too. You wanted more for that child. I'm betting you prayed that that child would find meaning and purpose in their life. You hope that their life would be filled with joy. You wished her a world of peace. You prayed they would look in the mirror and see their own beauty, and they would trust their own goodness, and that they would discover their own holiness. You prayed that he would find the special one, that special one, and know what it is like to fall in love and be loved unconditionally. You wish them to imagine all the possibilities of their lives. The reason these things were in your prayers, hopes, and wishes is because somewhere deep within yourself, you know and want those same things for yourself. You touched your own richness toward God. You caught a glimpse of the treasure that you are and want to be. The treasure God knows you already to be. What if you lived that way? How would your life be different? What possibilities would that create in your relationships? What might you do to claim yourself as God's treasure? To be rich toward God? Remember, take care. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Amen. The peace of God, which surpasses all human understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of Christ Jesus.